Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it might be for you. Hope you guys are having a good one, wherever you might be. I just realized I don't have water with me, so I'm just gonna die of thirst this stream, I suppose. Hope everyone is doing okay. If this is your first time here, or maybe first time in a while, I'm making a horror game. Technically, I'm making two, but they're a part of the same thing, but just in separate pieces. Let me also turn down the music. I feel like that's a little too loud for y'all. For Halloween, I made the first part of it, which was called Recollections of the Dead, or of the Desolate. Just so that it's not a mouthful, I've been referring to it as Recollections. So that was released on Halloween. It's free to play on itch. If any of you want to check it out, I'll show it off here in a sec if I can. And we'll kind of walk through it a little bit. I'll explain piece by piece how it works and some of the limitations of it. And we're going to try to fix what's left to do in it. And this is not capturing the output. So let me not play standalone. Let me play in the selected viewport. I'll also mute the music so that y'all can hear me and hear the game. So, abrupt start. It just throws you in there immediately like this. And I'll turn the desktop audio up a little bit more because there are some sounds that play during the gameplay. Let's see how loud this is and if the light switch sound registers on OBS. Okay, that seems to be moderately loud. So one of the things I need to do today is get the file size down by about half. Right now I'm at about 500 megabytes. I need it to be at about 250 to be able to upload it as a playable in-browser game on itch.io. There's also a lot of lighting issues, which we don't see right now because we're playing it in the locally run executable format. Essentially has updated shaders, higher performance, and can calculate a lot of the lighting stuff on demand. But if we switch to, if I can find it here, preview rendering, I believe it's ES3, and then we try to play, we'll see almost immediately we can't see anything. That's because the spotlight flashlight, for whatever reason, doesn't work in this type of game mode. For the sake of seeing anything, let's add a point light here and play again. Still can't see anything. So let's make sure that this point light is static. Hey Blue, how you doing? Good to see you. Still nothing, so let's go to lit. Oh, we are in lit mode. Project has vertex fog on mobile disabled. That's fine. Just let me see something. Oh, this must not be bright enough. If we like bump this up to a huge number and then play again. Why can I not see? Let's go to at least like a night vision mode, or not night vision, but wireframe. We'll turn on this and then we'll go back to normal. There it is. Don't know why that point light wasn't working, but it looks mostly okay. I might try to replace that point light. Oh, I think it's because it was static and it needed to be not stationary but movable. There it goes. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and drop the intensity down just a little bit. So that's number one that we'll have to do at some point, is fix the flashlight, that when we're not in this shader mode, we can still see in the environment there. But problem number one is just to get the game to run, which it currently cannot do. Other thing, so we're just going to kind of walk through the entirety of the game right now. There are a lot of features that are missing, but rather than immediately jumping into adding those missing features, we're going to start with getting like the game breaking stuff out of the way. So there's this. I already know the solution to this puzzle. You're meant to go explore around the school and find the answer. For the sake of no spoiling. Oops, I forgot that I have escape bound to my pause button. But also, it just exits the editor. Didn't remember that. So rather than doing this, I'll just hide you guys. I solve this masterfully difficult puzzle. So we pick up an item that we need. And depending on how much of the school that we've explored... Ah, boo. Depending on how much of the school we explored, we might immediately know where this goes. Or we might have to explore a little bit more. It's a pretty small map. The intention of this game was meant to be, or meant to have a playtime of maybe 5 to 10 minutes maximum. So there were meant to be a lot more rooms, a lot more game mechanics to it, but I didn't have the time to finish those before the holiday itself had come and gone. And so over the course of really no set timeline, or set deadline rather, I'm going to continue to make smaller updates to this as I'm working on my much bigger project. And so another part here, and this is kind of spoiler, so if you would prefer to play this game on your own at some point, just, I guess, mute or look away for about like 30 seconds or so. If you want to see where it is now, and then as it changes later on over time, you can kind of come back and observe what updates I've made. Go ahead and stick around. But once you solve... Is the audio even playing? Oh, it's super quiet. So this is a puzzle. I'm not going to solve it here, because again, it's meant for you to solve. But there is one thing that... Oh, hey, Basti. I don't know if you missed the part of potential spoilers. But potential spoilers here, because it's a defect in the game that at some point I want to fix. So, the defect is, during this part of the game, it says you can hold space to look behind you. And right now, we can't see too much. But what's actually happening is the ghost that's been haunting us and following us throughout the entirety of the game, I didn't talk about a lot of what it can do. Right now, it can only do a couple of things, and we'll show that after this. But she starts all the way down at the end of the hall, and she has a very basic twitching animation, kind of based on the animation of Lisa from PT. And as she gets closer, you can actually start to hear her sing along with the music box. The intention here is that you have up until she gets to you to solve the puzzle. Now, there are issues with the audio tracking here. Initially, what I wanted to do, if we click this, we can go over here, and let's get our music back, because we're not listening to sound effects anymore. Also, good morning, Basti. Hope you are having a good Saturday. I believe it's Saturday for you. This audio, initially, I had this attached to her. And it started all the way down here. And as she got closer, the audio followed along with her. And a lot more naturally got louder. For whatever reason, when you attach an audio source to her, and I don't know if it's just anything that happens to be moving, or if it's the way I attached the audio source, or the way I spawned it in, but as soon as I try to get it to work, the audio just stops playing. And not the music box audio, but her audio singing along with it, because it is synced up. And ultimately what I ended up doing is just placing the audio right here and just changing the volume of it over time. That also had issues if I try to change the volume in Engine. I think it might be the timeline that it's having issues with, because maybe it's updating every tick and it doesn't like that. So I went back into Audacity and changed it so that the audio itself, the audio file itself, increases in volume over time. Oh man, sorry to hear that, Basti. Hopefully everything's going okay. If any of you are watching on Twitch, by the way, and you don't see the chatters I'm talking to, I dual stream to YouTube at the same handle. So I've not gone insane yet. Now, those are all bugs. There are also features I wanted to add. One of them was a... I don't know if I got rid of it. It used to be here. But there is a... Oh, there it is. You can see the remnants of it. There was a mechanic where you would sleep in a bed, and you would sleep through the night, and the objective of that sort of minigame was to get the best sleep you could for the next day, but there would be distractions happening throughout the day, or throughout the night, rather. And that didn't end up making it into this version. The other thing I wanted to do was add this parallax effect for plants and stuff, and to show you what that was meant to look like. The idea is that it's a 2D texture, and it doesn't look great here. But, like, it moves kind of as the player does. And it's hard to tell with this perspective, but these can even move. I can give these depth, and they can start to move behind themselves. So kind of like if we had two of these. Right now, they're both on screen, but as I move to the right, this one is kind of covering up the other one. That works with these 2D textures also. And I got it to work for the most part. There were a couple issues with it. I couldn't get a good and convincing looking ground to work with this depth feature, nor could I get a good looking background or sky. I could really only get the objects themselves looking somewhat presentable. Sorry, what did you do? I don't know what that's referring to, so sorry. And let's see, there are a lot of other features I think I'm forgetting to talk about, but those were a lot of the stuff that I think as soon as we get it to run, that'll be what I focus on. Next is... So the plan is fix the file size so that the thing actually runs on a web browser. You have 2 people in chat and it's still too much. Yeah, imagine if there's more. That's why I can't be a big streamer. Great, now I've lost my train of thought. See, this is why too many people talking to me and I'm trying to anyway. So first thing, reduce the file size so that it can run. Second thing, fix the lighting so that the player can actually see what's happening while it's running. I did look a little bit into how I can fix the file size stuff. So if we package this project, and I'm going to make a build for HTML5. We're going to wait for it to finish. And when it's done building, it'll tell me how big that file is. And I can't have it be bigger than 250 megabytes. In just a moment, when it's done, it'll make a little chime, and I can tell you how big it is. It's thinking. There it goes. Little chime was heard. So if I take a look, and you guys can't see this because it's in my file explorer, but I'm at 486 megabytes. That is the number that I need to get dropped down to 250 or to run natively on the web browser. So, quite a bit. That's almost half. I have an idea of how I want to do that. And by the way, I can... Oh, I didn't mean to delete it, which is what I did. Let's build it again. It only takes about a minute or so. First, we can examine where all of our resources are going to. Most of it, spoiler alert, are the texture sizes. I used 2K by 2K textures, which is pretty high resolution. It looks okay in 1K, and it looks in like 500 by 500. So ultimately, my plan is to just reduce those down until we have the file size that we need. So if I go to Window, Developer Tools, and Asset Audit, and if I go to Select Platform, HTML5, Add Chunks, and I view the size map. Is it this empty test? Okay, yeah, it is this one. This is the level I want to look at. If we zoom in on that, I can see where all of my resources are being allocated to. Here we can see a lot of it is, like, if we look at this piano specifically, it's saying this piano is taking up 30 megabytes in and of itself. But if we look at why it's 30 megabytes, it's this texture, this material, and then it's this static mesh, and if we open this up, it's that big because of it's the material itself. Texture 2D, texture 2D, texture 2D. I'm trying to see if I can even find the the 3D model in here, but I can't. It's all just the texture sizes that are eating up the space. Oh, here we go, the static mesh. Oh, but even then, if we blow up the static mesh, it's the textures. What am I doing today? We're taking these file sizes and we're optimizing how big they are. We're going to reduce the file size that it can run. Nodding along to what he's saying, but not seeing. Oh, shoot. You guys can't see this? There we go. Sorry, the new tool, thing that I'm using for OBS to, like, make it transition smoother is kind of weird sometimes. So this is the size map. Oh, I just don't listen usually. Oh. So if we look at the level that we're playing in, this is the breakdown of where my file sizes are. And I was talking about this piano piece here. If we expand this, it'll tell me that it's, 55 megabytes. But it's saying most of this tech is coming from a texture. This is also texture, texture, texture. Most of our, most of this asset, in terms of the file itself, is a texture, an image that's taking up the data size. There's a little bit of a sound wave here, but that's only about not even 1 megabyte. It's 777, name of the channel, kilobytes. The audio file is luckily very small, but these textures are way too big. Now, you can sort of... one more thing I wanted to mention, which I had disconnected for the sake of getting a screenshot today, is about every seconds or so, and it's random. So it's like, it picks a number between 1 and 3600, and if that number happens to be 7, she will do a thing, which ends up being about every 30 seconds or so, but not exactly, a little bit random. The intention here, and if we can actually drop into the game and show it, is that that's attached to the light switches. And so if a light switch is on, she will she has a chance to turn it off. You can also hear her footsteps approach the light switch before she turns it off. And I don't know if it'll pick up if we stay quiet here. It's that randomness. It's my bad luck. Oh, there she goes. She just turned it off. I want to add more of an effect to that, but for the time, the deadline I imposed on myself, that was good enough for me. How much time do you usually spend on game development off stream? An okay amount. A lot of it is stuff that I think is tedious that won't be interesting to stream. And it's also a lot more sporadic. So the streams aren't really how I spend my time doing game development. Usually I might do it for like 15, 20 minutes, take like a 5-10 minute break doing something else, then go for maybe like another half hour. Then there are some times where like I'm actively trying to solve an issue and I'll be working on it, and next thing I know, it's been like 4 hours and I've just been like, you know, focus mode on solving that one issue. Does she have a model? Yes, but when she's doing the light switch stuff, you can't see it. Oh, and it's using the Mari model, by the way, not the I haven't made a new one for her yet. That is something I would want to do at some point. Speaking of which, though, I did want to bring this up. That's the Windows Parallax. We'll go to reference viewer on this. Because I made something for this. The idea was this was a parallax thing also. And I don't think... Okay, no, she's not in this one. In this one? Okay, she is. Let's grab a plane. Let's stretch it. And let's rotate it. Let's do this. It's kind of weird, but the idea was use that same parallax effect to kind of like make her appear and disappear. And so I kind of wanted the opposite of this, where it's like as you got closer to her, she just kind of like vanished into nothingness, but not by like just straight up disappearing. And the parallax was so close to doing it. I think if I had like another like if I'd spent more time on that by like a week or so on this specifically, like working on and off, kind of as I mentioned before, I probably would have gotten something much, like something good enough to actually include, but I just didn't get the chance to do that. Let me, real quick, there's an interloper on which... Alright, goodbye. Let me open up my streamer bot, because I forgot that Daisy wasn't here, but now she is. I'm not in the two other smaller streamers chat, all of whom are American, only has... Oh, you're now in two other smaller streamers chat. I thought you said not. That's just my bad. Totally literate American here. A lot of Americans don't leave the United States because the United States is massive. Like, you could fit most of Europe inside of it. So it's very, very common that an American won't have a passport. Okay, so back to kind of what we were talking about with the asset audit and the size map, there is something I can do to like quickly reduce our texture size. So these are all my textures, and I'm just going to select all of it. Whoops. Select all of these. And if I right click, go to Asset Actions, and then go to Bulk Edit via Property, I can say that if a texture is greater than 1024, so 1000 by 1000, that it will reduce the texture size to 1000 by 1000. I think. So it said online at least. So if I save that, and by the way, if I make a mistake, I am using revision control. So any mistakes I make, I can very easily undo, even if it's not with the Control Z in the editor. So now if I go back to package this project and build it, HTML5, wait for it to finish. It's done. All right, so remember, we were at like 489 before. If we go back and I take a look at our file size, we're now at 381. So we dropped almost 100 megabytes, which isn't that great, if I'm gonna be honest. Because what should have happened is our texture sizes should have dropped by about half. So we should have gone realistically from something like 480 to maybe even 300 was my initial expectation. And give me just a sec as I open up an output dialog to show you the source of the issue. Oh, and by the way, Unreal Engine itself will tell you when your file size is too large for HTML5. For most of you, by the way, if you're trying to follow along, you don't need to worry about file size. I'm trying to do a very, very specific thing, and that very, very specific thing requires that it be under 250 megabytes. Here, it will tell me when it's under 200 or when it's above that 250. But if we scroll up to the point where it's trying to do all the texture reduction, it will tell me. So source image prevents resizing and is too large for compressor's max dimension. And a lot of the textures are like that, which is why, although we did drop by like 100 megabytes, it wasn't quite enough. So we're gonna have to kind of go in manually and modify the textures to work. Now, I kept all my textures in one place. If you were watching the streams during the horror time, spooky season, you'll know that I kept it in a folder, which was, now that I'm at this point in time, it was stupid to keep them separated from the project, but now I know not to do that. And you aren't able to see this part because it's in File Explorer, and I don't have the capture set up for that yet. But maybe you guys can see this. This is Substance Painter. So here, as I'm making the textures for each object, I can manually set if I want it to be a 2K or a 1K, or even all the way down to a 128K, which doesn't look very good at all. I think for what I'm doing, honestly, I think even 5K, or not 5K, 1K looks fine. If I have to reduce it even more, I think I would be okay dropping it down to 500 by 500. But we're going to try to do it with 1K first. Now I could go through each of the objects, because I do have all of them saved. And then I could go one by one, reduce the size here, and get it to be smaller that way. I don't want to do that. I'll be honest with you. So instead, I am going to go to the folder. I wrote a Python script that goes and finds every .png, and if the .png has either a height or a width greater than 1024, it reduces the scale by a half. And I'm gonna let that thing loose in the directory where my images are. So that's my plan. Surely nothing bad will happen when I do this. I didn't test what would happen. I test to make sure that the script worked in like a with like some blank PNGs. So this will be a learning experience for all of us. It'll be fun. We'll go ahead and... I don't know how much of this you'll see. By I don't know, I know that you won't see really anything. But I should make a backup of this folder actually before I do this. That would be the smart thing to do. Back. Crap. Okay. Python image reducer.py. Gave your cat one piece of bacon and now he's looking at you funny. Oh. You're gonna try to Blender live on stream? What? Where's that? Oh, so I have that when I do Blender stuff, and because I have Blender closed, it only shows me the keypad itself. But like when I open up Blender, let's see if it'll hold up. There it goes. But that's really only for when I have Blender up. There's not much of a point, I think, in doing it with the other stuff. Why does the mouse go to the wrong position when I minimize Blender? Kind of crazy. Why are you surprised I told you in a YouTube comment? No, I read that. I was trying to hype you up. So by the way, it found 66 files, and it reduced the size of all of them. So, now we go back into the engine. Same thing. We go all the way down, and then we click re-import. So, even though I'm selecting textures that didn't change, because they didn't change, nothing will happen. But when I re-import, no will skip the re-import of all assets with the missing source file path. Yeah, just skip those. It was only 3, so it's fine. Now we wait. Hopefully this doesn't kill the stream. I still see things moving on my OBS, so that's fine. It's thinking about life decisions, though. It's not recognizing. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Let's make sure to save all. Nice. Okay. Now that that happened, let's at least try to make sure that it did something. I think this is one of the textures that updated. So now if we hover over this, and you guys won't be able to see me hovering over it, but if we open it, it should tell us the texture size. Here it is. It was previously 2,000, now it's 1,000. And we can even go in the game, and we can walk around, and we can see we didn't lose all that much fidelity of the graphics. So, just a moment ago, we were at, what, 380 megabytes? Let's go ahead and run it back and see what size we're at now. Once again, our target file size is 250 or below. Now we wait. And by the way, if this is below 250, I'll be able to upload it on itch almost immediately so that we can test it out. And when that happens, it'll be publicly available to everyone. Oh boy. It's at 384. Did that not do anything? What? What? I don't get it. Okay, let's go to the window, developer tools, asset audit, HTML5, add chunks, size map. Okay, look, so the empty test world is now much smaller. Is it trying to import the starter map stuff too? Let's see if we delete the starter map, does that reduce our size? It's gonna be under one more folder up, I think. It's under first person CPP, maps. What is starter map? Get rid of this. Browse to asset. What is this? We don't need any of this. Go away. Hey, Jessica, how you doing? Okay. Well, now that we deleted that, if we rebuild, are we going to see a smaller file size? And if so, by how much? And that is kind of weird because when I build the project, I specify that I only want, so if you go to project settings, you go to maps and modes. I guess probably more modes than maps. I do default map and game map. And then I also specifically say, Oh, lists of map to include in packaged build. I wasn't doing that. So by adding this map, now it's probably going to be much, much smaller. I hope. I always say things and then I just get insulted by the engine when it chooses not to do what I want. Package complete. Let's take a peek. Okay, it is at 85 megabytes. Folks, we did it. So it wasn't the texture data itself. Oh, I mean, that definitely contributed to it, I'm sure. So I can upload this. And it's not gonna look all that good because there aren't any lights in it. So you know what? Let's fix the lighting first, and then we'll upload it. So if we go to our first-person blueprint, all we have to do is just change this with a point light instead. Because for whatever reason, it just doesn't like the spotlight. We do point light. Something like this. We can also give it the light function material, which was called Flashlight Matte. Super original. Super flashlight. Can probably hide this hidden in game. Compile, and now when we play, you can see how that looks. Looks kind of goofy, but there are a couple things we can do. First one is that it's a white light. We should give it the same color as our spotlight, because the color we used here was actually pretty good. Same thing with the intensity we used. We did 7,000? Oh, that's actually more than what we did. But we should have it go up a bit and make it smaller. See, yeah, the point light just doesn't look all that good. So what I'm thinking is maybe we act like it's just, rather than the player has a flashlight, it's a lantern. How does one edit the starting cube? I'm going to make a flashlight. Okay, folks, flashlight speed run. Here we go. Add a cube. Make sure you're in object mode. Hit add, mesh cube. If you've begun already, this will be done for you with a new project. If you press / and you have other things in your scene, it'll go ahead and hide everything else for you. / again brings it all back. So, what I recommend doing is going into edit mode and then clicking this to move it. And then if you hold control and then pull that up arrow, essentially that just lines it up with this grid on the bottom. It makes it easier to do some scaling. Honestly, a flashlight with a cube is not great. I'd recommend getting rid of that. So clicking it and then press delete. And then add a cylinder instead. Here, before you click anything else, check the number of vertices and make sure that you're okay. Obviously, the more you have, the higher detail it's going to be. Realistically, you don't need that many. We'll start with something like 12. Everything else you can change later on for the most part, but the number of vertices you can't really, so it's kind of important to make sure you choose that correctly. Slow the fuck down. So once you / on that, we should probably rotate this so that our flashlight is at a nice 90 degrees. And remember, you can hold control as you're rotating and moving things so that it snaps. So if I want it to be at like degrees of 5, this is a perfect rotation as opposed to like trying to eyeball it and then it's just kind of like a negative 0.612. How do you check vertices? You go up to edit mode and you click this box here, which is vertex select, and then you can click vertices. I would not recommend using vertices for this. For now, stick with face, which is this one. If you press A, it'll highlight all of it, and if you press S, it'll scale it with your mouse. I'm going to scale it down a little bit because it's too big for a flashlight. And remember, each of these little cubes is about 1 meter when you import it into the engine. Obviously, when you get it into the engine or whatever else you're going to use, you can scale it in there, and that'll work just fine. But it is nice just to have the scaling correct from the jump. So for, let's see, for the handle, we probably want, what does a flashlight handle look like? Hold on, I've got a flashlight IRL. Let me go grab that. It's like here at my desk, but I gotta take my headset off to get it. Oh man. Have no fear, flashlight has been acquired. Handle doesn't look too much different from the rest of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the edge of this, pull this out a little bit. I do not have plan on doing engine. Fair enough. And we'll do this. Now, if you want to be super precise about it, I usually like to make these even numbers, so I might do like a 0.025. If I alt-click, it's supposed to highlight this ring, but it didn't do that. So I can just control-click instead and click around. Control-click will select anything between where you first clicked and where you click next. Whereas shift-click will just add what you click next to your current selection. So with this selected, I think I want to scale it. That doesn't look quite right. Uncheck that, right click, extrude faces along normals. Kind of gives us that bigger size. I'll go ahead and drop that to 0.02. And then that can kind of serve as our base. How do you pull it out? Depends on what you are talking about. So like, I'll do a couple things that I think you might be mentioning. So if we click this again and we press E, that's how you pull this out. And then same thing, you can do this only by a little bit. Kind of make this the same by 0.025. Go back like 4 steps. We're going to recreate this little edge here, so that's what we're doing. Sometimes if you alt-click, it'll select the circle. Here, it's kind of confused, so it's selecting a circle, but the wrong way. And not a circle, but more so a loop. So what I expected it to do is just select the outer ring here, but it didn't do that, so I can click individually, or I can click one point, go around. Oh, yeah, even that sometimes messes up. This isn't too tedious, so I'll just go click them all. So at this point, if I press E to extrude, it doesn't do exactly what I want. So rather than extruding with the shortcut, if I right click and then do extrude along normals, it does this kind of pull out thing. And then here we can change this to a 0.02. How do you make that ring go out but not scale the entire thing? You have to extrude. Because scale will, so like if we go back, if we try to do S, you're right, it affects the part around it, which is going to be good later on when we do the flashlight head. But to make that ring, we do extrude along normals. We have to right click. And then for this part, we can probably round it off a little bit. And add some extra little designs here. This is an even number, and it's not, it's odd, which is perfect. I'll press I, which is this inset, and then same thing. I can either scale and do that. That scale is kind of weird. There's a way to scale at local rotation. Let me see if I can find it. Let's just do extrude along normals again. And then we can just scale. No, that's also weird. Let me Google that real quick. Blender scale along normals. Alt S. There we go. That's our handle. And then flashlight's the same, pretty much all the way down. You can just drag this. Or if you want to add some detail, do something like this. You can extrude, maybe like, oops, extrude, and then change the scale a little bit, extrude again, change it back, and then just do that a handful of times. Maybe when you extrude, just immediately get smaller. So rather than extruding and moving it, so we'll undo a couple steps here. You're an awful teacher. I called it a speed run. So we're extruding. Exactly, exactly, exactly. You can extrude and immediately make a small, extrude again. Look at that. Essentially, you are going to be pressing E and S a bunch of times. That's it. E lets it get pulled out like this. When you pull it out, you can press S to make it bigger or smaller. If you don't want it to stretch the angle next to it, if you press E and then click on the screen just to accept it, and then immediately press S, then you have this kind of smaller inset. Alternatively, you can click that face and press I, and then extrude that. Or, of course, pull it. So E, I, and S. Extrude, scale, inset. With those three, you just make any random design you want. Let's do this. Hey, Raph, we're trying to make a flashlight that looks unique. He's doing a poor job teaching you Blender. Oh. That head is a little bit too, like, compared to the, there we go, that looks better. Inset, extrude, push in. And then shade auto smooth. Just this. And there's your flashlight. A flashlight. And there you go. For free. I'm gonna try again after stream. I didn't understand a single thing. It's... most of Blender is 3 buttons. Maybe 4. When you master that, you master the art of blending. You make any smoothie you want. The flashlight's kind of too long. Easy fix, watch this. If we go to this toggle X-ray, we can grab this part of the flashlight, and then we can scale... whoops. Just along this part here, and just kind of bring that in. Perfect. We'll go ahead and just set that to the side. But yeah, like most of what, if we bring everything back, like even this is just like, I made a face, so this is just a flat plane. I pressed I on it. So if we look at it from this direction here, each one of these edges here was just me pressing I a separate time to make another inset. So here, we'll do it again. Click this, press I, and now we have a new one. And then I would either pull it out with this move tool, press E to maybe like rise it up a bit. And if I wanted to change the scale, I could. So I could like extrude and then scale. And it's just that a whole bunch of times. The other thing you could do is called bevel. So if you want to make this, but you want to make it kind of rounded, if you do Control, Shift, and B, you can either bevel like this, which is the vertex of bevel, and then you can use your mouse scroll wheel to change how much of an effect the bevel has. Or you can press V, and then it does an edge bevel, which is like this. Now back to that flashlight we had a second ago. Let's say instead of a flat face here, we wanted a more rounded face. I could grab this, pull it out a little bit, and then I could add some bevels to it. And then now it's a bit more rounded. I could obviously pull it out a bit more if I really wanted to. But a lot of flashlights now, at least the ones I've seen, have that flat. Oh wait, no, the one I'm holding is not flat. It's rounded. It's one of those like omega bright LED ones. But yeah, again, most of what I do is just those three buttons. It's inset, this, extrude, and then scale. A beam of light, but it's molded into the flashlight itself. And then obviously moving around is probably like moving the camera will be what probably will take your patience the most if you don't know the shortcuts. You're gonna just want to press and hold on your mouse wheel. That moves the camera around. If you hold shift and then press and hold, it kind of drags the camera. And then if you press period on whatever you've selected, it'll focus on whatever you have selected. So I can like click this back here, press dot, and it takes me there. That's blending. What do you think, class? Simple, easy, clean. Will this be on the exam? Well, yeah. If I'm teaching it to you, of course it's going to be on the exam. Why would I teach it to you otherwise? Now let me stare at the default cube for an hour before restarting. How'd you make people in Blender? It's all very rigid shapes. Yeah, that is something I'm still figuring out. So, what I had done in the past is like, you get two different profiles. So, you get one of the person, like a silhouette of the person from the front. And then to like line up perfectly with it, up here at the top is another camera control option. If I want to look at this directly, like from this viewpoint, I can click this -Y, and then it lines me up with that. And then from there, I could turn on X-ray and then vertex. And then I can just kind of click and drag things to line it up with like the silhouette in the background. And then I can like change the perspective and then line up this part of it. And with just those two perspectives, you'll get pretty close. There is probably a better way of doing it, because you might even need to like tweak it a little bit more beyond that. If you watched the stream where we tried to make the nurse, you know, like, you know some of the imperfections we've got with that method. Okay, I think the issue I'm having with this first-person character is this light function material. The fade distance is high. Let me reduce that. See what that looks like. Okay, what if now we treat it like a flashlight and just move it forward a bit? Sculpting? Yeah, you'd probably want to sculpt. But that's a tool I haven't used too much of. There are a couple different sculpt settings. Because the issue with sculpting, at least that I had initially trying to figure it out, is if you go into sculpt mode, and it's like, okay, I want to like build off of it, but I was clicking, and like, it's hardly doing anything, and that just annoyed me. There's a setting that you can enable, and I forgot where it was because I don't use it, where ultimately what it's doing is it's trying to sculpt based on the number of vertices you already gave it, which is usually going to be very small. So there's an option where it just gives you more vertices as you are sculpting, so that it doesn't limit you to that. And I don't remember where that setting was or what it was even called. Dynamic topology? No, that's not it. But if you're trying to do sculpting, that is the thing to be aware of. Like, the sculpting mode on default will limit you based on what you already have in there. I use sculpting in Nomad. I see many people use Nomad to make people with their character, then transfer to Blender for movement. No, I got it. I got the movement part. You're good. I got the context clues. Until next Halloween. So, yeah, I'm Bong. Partly a joke. I was working on this one prior to Halloween, and I released it in a playable state, but there was a lot to it that I couldn't finish in time. And so the intention was, okay, well, Halloween is over. I should still go back and add updates to it. It makes a little bit more sense if you're watching on YouTube, where a lot of the chatters I'm talking to are from. I say like, oh, all throughout Halloween, I had a countdown, like 11 days remain, 9 days remain, 4 days remain. And then I was like, okay, well, technically Halloween is over. It ended 14 days ago. So I have negative 14 days to finish it. But yeah, by next Halloween, it'll be done. I mean, next year is a lot of it is. We did a lot of the optimization already. The issue was that I have 2 different builds I was targeting. One of them would run, like you could download it and run it on your local machine. The other is that it could be run on the web page directly, so that you didn't need to download it. You could just open the link and play it directly from there. And that was mostly working, but the problem is I kind of had to like keep maintaining that as I was building it, which took time. And as I got super close to the deadline, I kind of came to the realization that, okay, let me forget about the web browser support just so I can get this out in time. And then after Halloween is over, I can add the web browser support. Which is now. Okay, so now that we have that flashlight, I think that looks good enough. We will make this new build, and then we can make it so that immediately people can check it out and play it without having to download it. Flashlight cookie breaking the flashlight. Yeah, I wanted to use a point light, but for whatever reason, when you build for web browser, I think just the shader that it uses doesn't allow spotlights to be used. Because the spotlight actually looks exactly how I want it to do, so let me unhide it. Hidden in game, and then let's go ahead and hide the spotlight. Let's go back. So right now this is without the, it's hard to tell, but up here is a quick toggle to turn on whether it looks like in web browser or not. So when that's green, that means I will see what the people playing in web browser will see. So when you download it and play it locally, this flashlight looks pretty good. I like the look of it. The cookie shader, by the way, came from Kenny Art, who makes a lot of free public domain art. Highly recommend checking his stuff out. Super well known in like the indie dev space. But when I go into mobile support, it's just spotlights just don't work. Yeah, Kenny assets. This looks cool as hell. Thank you. I'll run through a good amount of it as I'm testing the web browser support, because I just finished the build. And if any of you don't know about building for web browser, there are a lot of hoops you have to jump around to get it to work. The first one, which is usually enough to stop most people from even attempting it, is that if you're building a game in Unreal Engine, which is my preferred engine, you have to use Unreal Engine 4.23 or a custom-built version of 4.27. Unreal Engine 5 doesn't support it. Second thing is it has to be, in totality, less than half a gigabyte. And you can't have a file size bigger than 250 megabytes on its own. And to show you what that looks like, let me take a screenshot of this because I don't have a desktop capture set up with OBS technically. It's all just applications. But I have GIMP, and GIMP luckily has a copy paste. Oh, I don't have GIMP. I should add GIMP. Hold on. That's quick to do. Window capture, GIMP. There we go. Oops, it's not. Transform, fit to screen. So this one here is where your limitation is going to hit most people that try to do this. This was the optimizing I was doing today. At the start of the stream, this was about 480,000 kilobytes, which is about 500 megabytes. Again, this has to be less than 250. So we did some optimization with the textures. We got it down to 85. Bye, Jessica. Have a good night. Thank you for dropping by. Halloween is never over, and that is true. That is true. I want to try sculpting. I'll probably suck at that too. Maybe this one for real. Maybe this will be the one. Kenny's awesome using his prototype textures for your current project. Hell yeah. Oh, sorry about Daisy doing stuff. Hi, Gimp. So Daisy is my auto mod, by the way. She just uses some very basic LLM stuff to kind of determine if a chat message is inappropriate. Definitely a lot of false positives. She saw this as harassment. She thought you were harassing me, so she removed that message. But I like, despite what gets removed, I still get to see everything, so don't worry about that. Yeah, GIMP is the tool GIMP is fantastic. I love it. Okay, and then by the way, from this point on, if you want to import into itch.io, if you take this HTML file that generates the .html, here it is. You rename this file to index.html. You select all of this and you zip it together into one zipped file, and then that is what you upload into itch. And I'm gonna do that right now, which I don't think you'll see because that's just in a separate window off screen for you guys. But it shouldn't take more than a second. There is a pipeline or a plugin that you can install that does all of this for you automatically. So if you're making a bunch of updates at once, you don't need to go through that process each time. But if you're only doing it a handful of times like I'm doing, then it's definitely, you know, easier just to do it each time it needs to be done. Give me a sec to open up my itch.io page. I think this is safe enough to share. Give me one moment. I think so. Oh, this is the wrong one. Give me one sec. I have to go to material test because that's where I'd kind of been testing these textures and stuff. There we go. Now we can come back. I think at least. Let me at least get the upload in here and then I'll show you guys again. There it goes. So, I upload that zip. So I took all that together, made it into a .zip. I changed the file name to an index file. And then, as soon as it's done, I'm going to see what I see with these other versions, is that it's going to be a checkbox that says this file will be played in browser. Affinity, #1 Photoshop competitor. I've not heard of that before. Thank you for sharing. Got bought by Canva and made 100% free. Oh, hell yeah. Gotta go, 7:30 a.m. time to head to bed. Get some sleep, man, but thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. Have a good night, or morning, I guess. It's evening for me. Don't give Daisy the stick. Oh, she's the... I was gonna, like, try to be like, oh, she created the stick. Like, kind of like pseudo-quoting Narnia. But I couldn't think of something clever enough that sounded good, so I just kind of like explained what the concept of the joke. I think you got it. Alright, let's see how this looks and plays. There are probably going to be other issues with it, besides just the lighting. This doesn't look too bad. The pause menu doesn't work. Whoops. But that works. Smooth, just like my brain. This actually doesn't look too bad. Let's see how much of this is playable. Obviously, we don't have shadows, but I think that's fine. Ooh, we don't have the textures, and we need that to solve the puzzle. This works. Oh, I should probably stop the holly jolly music. That might help things. That might help the ambiance. Okay, cool. Yeah, the solution to that puzzle is meant to be here on this piece of paper, but you can hear her walking around out there. Oh, I think she turned that light on down there. Locker. By the way, all of these, all the textures, all the materials, all of the models, I made myself. And I do want to upload these so that people can download them for free. No license will be attached to them. I hate having to deal with licensing stuff, even if it's a free model for me to use. And I don't want people that want to use my stuff to have to deal with that also. So it'll be, when I drop it on Itch, it'll be public domain. So you don't need to reference me. You don't need... I would appreciate it, but not necessary. Footsteps and ambient sound effects would help the vibe dramatically. There are footsteps, they're very quiet. Let's see. I might have to up the audio a bit. I also don't think this piano puzzle works. That was one of the bugs. So we're going to try it, and we're going to see how far it goes. This is definitely too quiet. Okay, couple things. Two things are supposed to happen. On the left there, that's supposed to have something for you to read. That will tell you how to solve the puzzle. On the right is also a very important thing for this puzzle. Oh, without the fog, you can't see anything down that hall. That's kind of even creepier. Well, let's see how much of this works. Can you guys hear the music box okay? I want to test the second part of this. You can? Okay, cool. Because this was the part that broke, like, Halloween Eve at, like, midnight. And so that's why it came out at, like, 1 a.m. Okay, I think the other audio that's supposed to play is broken. Worst part was in the dark. There were a few deer, so I looked out over the field. 3 sets of eyes looked back. Absolutely shook me. Her silhouette is definitely a lot less intimidating when it's just like low poly legs scrolling across the floor. You missed a message? Really? It didn't show up on my YouTube. Oh, a couple days ago I went on a night walk with only a headlamp. I was listening to Cry Fear music. It was not fun. I forgot what the solution to this puzzle was. I think it was... Well, that worked. Okay, so the second audio is not playing. Oh, let's get the Holly Jolly music back. Hold on. Let me reduce the audio so that when Lo-Fi Girl starts playing, it won't be deaf. That story, by the way, reminds me of the scary stories to tell in the dark story. Let me see if I can find that. In the meantime, let's go and get Unreal Engine back. I could have sworn I had it pulled up still. I don't know if I closed it. If I did close it, then no story time for us. Okay, I did close it, but let me look it up real quick. Scary stories to tell in the dark. PDF. It's like The Field or something was the name of it. Oh, by the way, hold on. I've showed this in the past, but this, that was not fun to watch in the dark. The slam didn't help. Let's see. Like, the illustrations on these are so good. Just weird. Like, the haunted house one, I think, is the best illustration we got. Yeah, this one. The story is alright, but... like, look at this. I tried to play the Lisa jump scare, but I forgot that I turned it off. Oh, that's a good one too. Oh, you saw her on your walk? Oh, hell yeah. Did she try talking to you? Oh, the high beam story is a good one. Trying to find the field one. I don't know if it was in this book. I guess not. Oh, I think it was this one. How long is this? Ted and Sam were good friends. They spent a lot of time together. On this particular night, they were sitting on a fence near the post office talking about one thing or another. There was a field of turnips across the road. Suddenly, they saw something crawl out of the field and stand up. It looked like a man, but in the dark, it was hard to tell for sure. Then it was gone. But soon it appeared again. It walked halfway across the road, then it turned around and went back into the field. Then it came out a third time and started toward them. By now, Ted and Sam were scared and they started running. But when they finally stopped, they decided they were being foolish. They weren't sure what had scared them, so they decided to go back and get a better look. Pretty soon they saw it, for it was coming to meet them. It was wearing black pants and a white shirt and black suspenders. Sam said, "I'm going to try to touch it, then we'll know if it's real." He walked up to it and peered into its face. It had bright, penetrating eyes sunk... Oh. It had bright, penetrating eyes sunk deep into its head. It looked like a skeleton. Ted took one look and screamed, and again he and Sam ran, but this time the skeleton followed them. When they got to Ted's house, they stood in the doorway and watched it. It stayed out on the road for a while, then it disappeared. A year later, Ted got sick and died. Toward the end, Sam sat up with him every night. The night Ted died, Sam said he looked just like the skeleton. That was the shit when I was in middle school. Now we have Poppy playtime. You recreated the Unreal Engine line trace function in Godot. Not one-to-one because it's Godot, but it makes it easier for my brain when translated into Unreal words. Tried creating this function a while back and couldn't get it to work properly. I've leveled up. This has next to nothing to do with your walk, but pop off. Look, you were both in a field of some kind, and you potentially saw a thing, but you didn't. What were the issues we saw just now? When we played the game, I forgot. Oh, the texture is not showing up. Oh, are none of these showing up? Was that because of the script that I wrote that removed, that dropped the scale down? It might be because of that. Ooh. That's what we call an oopsie daisy. Hold on, we can probably fix that pretty easily, because I was smart and made a backup. Oh, apparently it's open in another application, and I cannot, in fact, restore the backup. Hold on. Let me fix this. Okay, I fixed it. Go back to my content, go back to... Oh, I don't even need to do this. Oh, I probably should do this. Okay, fine, whatever. Texture. Like all of this, and then re-import. No. I'm playing Voices of the Void, and I think I just heard a roar in the distance. Need emotional support. Y'all should play PT. That's a good one. I wish they made a full PT game. Instead, we got Death Stranding. I mean, shout out to the Death Stranding fans, I guess. I'm glad you got something that you enjoyed. Okay, this did not fix what I was hoping it would fix. know what I can do though? Watch this. Watch this. Boom. Quickly as it came, it left. I'm gonna go and fix this the easy way in forgot the name of this tool. The revision controller. Give me just a second as I do that. Look at this beautiful texturing of a shelf in the meantime. And we can just enjoy each other's company and talk about salad. I guess. Mmm. Yum. Honestly, I'll say it. Salad is kind of mid. There, I said it. I had PT on my PS4 back in the day, but uninstalled it to make space. That is heartbreaking. I feel for you. Lemon, when you go to Japan, are you going to go solo or with other people? Going with some friends. I don't know how much I would enjoy it solo. I do usually enjoy doing things on my own, make no mistake. But I don't know, I feel like something like that, it's hard to tell. I know people who go on solo trips all the time though, and you know, I will occasionally do also. So not that it's unheard of. Man, I edited a lot of things when I ran that Python script. I'm having to like check these one at a time because I edited other stuff that I don't want to undo. Like the light switch. Actually, no, I want to undo the light switch. I don't know why I changed that to begin with. Why did I change the post-process light? Okay, so I delete the map, and then I made modifications to the current map into the character. Everything else is just deletions, I think. Oh, because I'll just reinstall it later. No. Okay, so now if we go back to Unreal Engine, I'm gonna have to start it manually. We should hopefully have a lot of that stuff back. If I rebuild and we go back into the game, we should have all those textures back, hopefully. I don't know what to do about the LEDs not lighting up. But that might be another thing. Okay, perfect. There they are. So even with the textures being where they were initially, I'm guessing that because most of the map, or most of what was eating up our file size was just the maps that weren't being used, that we should still just be good without those texture changes. I guess Unreal Engine does a lot of optimization that I didn't account for, like on its own. Alright, let me see how big that file was. 168. Okay. So it definitely doubled our file size, which is fine. We still have like slightly under 100 to play with. I don't think I'll be using up another 100 for the remaining features, but if I do, I know where to go to fix it. I'm uploading the new file now, which is why I'm quiet. That happens on a different screen. Oh, I did. I don't think I moved the light back. So it's probably going to start in the dark. Just not right. Yeah, shoot. I mean, that's an easy fix. It's just annoying because I have to, like, rebuild it again. The other issue we were having was the audio not playing when it should, which that should be easy to fix because we already have audio working. I just have to figure out why is it not when I'm starting it the way that I am. Probably shouldn't take too long, but probably not a tonight thing. Have a good night, Raph. I don't know if you said that recently or just now, but have a good night. Thank you for dropping by. Another thing that I'll do while this is loading, in Unreal Engine 5, the defaults for what is and is not checked for the imported textures is different than what I had done with this game. And it looks really good in Unreal Engine 5. So I'm wondering if that's the engine or if that's the setting that I changed. So I don't need to rebuild to test it. I can just go see what I did in Unreal Engine and just see if that looks better in browser. But let's see if this works. This is still on the material test page, by the way, because there are parts of this that are game breaking. And so I don't want to post it to the main link while it's still not in a ready state. But there's the lighting. One thing I'd like to do too is have it so that the text like scrolls on screen rather than just like showing up. I remember I made that like those service award things in like 5 minutes, just didn't get with a text editor. Okay, let's go back to Unreal Engine. I'm gonna check one thing in Unreal Engine 5, and then we'll be back to this. So that should be checked. That should be unchecked. That should be checked. Gotcha. So now back in Unreal Engine 4, we grab something like this door, for instance. This is the one that I had noticed looked a lot better. Oh, hold on. We need to look at the mesh. If I check this, and then check this. Uh-oh. I don't know if you saw that. It did say fatal error. Now, I don't know about you. I don't like seeing that. Why is it not dead? The engine isn't stopping and closing. Screen is stuck. Well, let me see if I can force this to die. There it goes. The classic task manager. Oh, this is the wrong map I loaded. There we go. Let's try that again. We'll only change this one. We've if you notice like a substantial change. I'm assuming no. You know. So for reference, what this looks like in Unreal Engine 5, I'll go ahead and show you. With the exact same textures. Granted, material is slightly different, and that does make a pretty big impact. I try to get them to be as similar as possible, but it seems I didn't do that great of a job. I want to go to maps, mansion. Also, Affinity was the alternative to Photoshop that one guy was mentioning. I should write that down on my TXT. I can save that for later. The doors are behind wall number 1. Here we go. This is what it looks like in Unreal Engine 5. Specifically, the door on the right is the higher poly one. The one on the left is like meant to be a like a simpler version without any actual indents on it. All of the like detail is just painted on as opposed to it being modeled on like this one. So it looks much cleaner. You can see the individual like scratches and stuff. It's also a 2K texture, but it's also a 2K texture in Unreal Engine 4. So this engine, I think, definitely does a lot more, as I would expect. But that is where I'm going to leave you tonight. I'm going to go get some sleep. It is midnight for me. Highly recommend that if it's nighttime for you, it's probably even later than midnight. You should probably get some sleep too. Probably had a long day, maybe even a long week. But now's the weekend. Now's the time to hopefully do some fun or relaxing things. If you do anything cool, feel free to share it in the Discord. Next stream is gonna be Wednesday at 7 p.m. PT. I will not be streaming Monday or Friday of next week. So next Wednesday, I will be continuing a different project, but it's in the same universe, it's also a horror game. Today, we were just trying to update something that was released for Halloween to make it a little bit better and to fulfill some promises I had with it. If you're in the Discord, I will update the schedule probably tomorrow. If you are new to the stream and you want to drop by again and you don't want to join the Discord, easiest way, just follow the channel. And then if you happen to be looking for something and I happen to be live, I'll likely get recommended to you. Relax, what is even that? Cryzen 3 exam due this Sunday. Look, Christmas vacation is almost upon us. Okay, you just have to push through the end. I believe in each and every one of you. I'll see you again on Wednesday. I hope you have a fantastic night, a fantastic weekend. And if I don't see you, thanks for at least dropping by to say hi, even if you lurked. Have a good one.